Welcome back to the morning show. It is 7:25, time for part 2 of our Wise Guys segment. And now that our bellies are full of pizza, we're going to try to balance some stuff, right?
Golly, that was good.
It wasn't very good.
Oh, my. So we were talking about center of gravity and what it has to do with balancing.
That's right there.
And so we were showing all kinds of ways where you kind of exploit the fact that the center of gravity of some object wants to be directly beneath the pivot point, and so we balance things, and sometimes they look interesting and stuff like that. But sometimes you want to do tricks like balancing things, you know, that are standing up. And so what you have to realize is that the center of mass has other interesting properties too. It always wants to go lower, but if it stays above the pivot point, then it'll stay there. Actually, here's an interesting one. Here's a ramp that kind of goes, looks like it's going up. But I can roll this thing down, and you think it's rolling up the hill, but it's not, because if you look sideways, the center of gravity of this thing is actually going down the whole time. It's just the shape, and this thing spreads, so it's allowed to go down.
A little trickeration.
So the center of gravity really likes to go down. But what about balancing stuff? So let's see if you can you balance this on your nose? Are you good at this?
On my nose? Oh, wait, man.
On your finger?
Maybe my fingers.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay.
My nose, I can try it. I can't promise you.
Well, if you can't do it on your finger, your nose is doubtful, let's be honest.
How do you know? You ready?
Yeah.
You got your hard hat on?
All right.
I bet I can do this one.
This one will be easier.
It will, because watch. I'm going to cheat.
He's got it stuck up against the ceiling. Oh, man, he's good.
Man, I'm rocking.
All right. Now, what you noticed was, and even if you hadn't stuck it against the ceiling and cheated, you would have noticed that
ceiling up there?
It's easier to balance something that's big than something that's small, right?
Yeah.
The reason for that is that something that's big falls over sort of slowly. If it's a little bit smaller, it falls over more rapidly. And if it's really small, like this match, whoever thought of balancing a match, right? You can't do it. It falls over really fast. And there's a physics reason for this. So
that old axiom, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, is not true in this situation.
Well, it might fall harder, but it'll fall slower. Yeah. And so here's how you can do this. Grab this, each one by the middle.
By the middle.
And face it, and just wiggle, face that way so they can see it. And now just wriggle your wrist back and forth. No, this one, twist. Okay. Now that one's easy to twist. Try to twist that one. That one's harder to twist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is called moment of inertia, or it's inertia against turning. Okay. So things that are really long, the inertia against turning increases like the square of the length. So if I make something twice as long, it's 4 times as hard to turn it.
Sure.
But the way that the torque due to gravity acts on it only increases with the length, or the distance from the pivot to the center of mass. So the longer I make something, the slower it's going to fall, because the force that tends to make it fall doesn't get big as fast as the inertia gets big. And so if I make something huge, it's very easy to bounce.
Okay, very good. And if you get it long enough, you can bounce it on the ceiling and look like you know what you're doing.
And this is a trick that tightrope walkers use all the time, because they'll carry a very, very long thing, and it just gives them stability, because it's hard to turn that thing. And so when they walk, not only does this thing lower their center of gravity, which makes it easier to balance, it also makes it harder for them to flip over. So.
Very good. All right, Matt, thank you very much. And you're soliciting ideas from classrooms?
Well, we are, except next week we're going to do Halloween stuff.
After the Halloween pumpkin
absolutely. After next week, we want ideas from classrooms, and so send classroom questions, and then we'll mention your school, and we'll answer the question on the air.
All right, you can send that to themorningshow@wcia.com. You could always send it to Matt himself on his very own personal website, wiseguy.net. We'll be back with more of The Morning Show right after this, where Amber Jenny and Andy Dallas are in costume. You don't want to